How's it going, guys? So, as you know, or hopefully know by now, Meteor Goliath is out. I want to do, like I've been doing for skin spotlights, I want to do something like that with Meteor Goliath, but I want to give you some more in-depth information about what's different between Meteor Goliath and normal Goliath. So, first half of this video, this adaptation spotlight, as it were, is going to focus on the differences between the two guys. Second half of the video, I'm going to shut up and just show you what he looks like. So, stay tuned and let me know what you think at the end. First things are small and maybe obvious or not so obvious things. He does have his own intro screen, as you can see in the back. He is selected kind of like as if he is his own monster, and you can see him there. He does have his own victory or defeat screen, or rather end of the round screen. His flames do go out if you crouch or go stealth mode. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're trying to not be seen. He actually is pretty hard to spot in stealth. He does have his own blob color when he is evolving. I know that sounds weird, but the original Goliath had those like gray blobs on him, no matter what skin you had and what color the skin was. But now Meteor Goliath has bluish instead of grayish. Once you do evolve, you leave that little thing behind, and his glows blue instead of orange. Now we're into the abilities here. This is where it gets real. This is a normal Goliath's leap, and I tried to be as scientific with this as possible, but it might not be completely accurate. And this is comparing it to a Meteor Goliath's leap. So the Meteor Goliath's one's supposed to be slightly faster. This one's rock throw, same thing, trying to aim at the same spot. As you can see the different animations there and how the rock looks different from Meteor Goliath, and it also, that rock travels a bit faster. Here's Leap Smash. This one is going to be really obvious to see the difference. This is original Goliath's Leap Smash. I kind of land in the water here. And then Meteor Goliath's Leap Smash goes quite a bit farther. As you can imagine, you're going to get more or less distance depending on the angle at which you aim it and the terrain and stuff like that. So, this is original Goliath's Flame Breath. As you can see, he cannot hit those mammoth birds from this distance, the ones that are against the wall there. He has to wait until they get closer for Flame Breath to be able to reach, but when you compare that to Meteor Goliath, his Flame Breath reaches the mammoth birds against the wall, no problem. Charge is another one where it's pretty easy to see the difference. As you can see with the original Goliath, I hit charge, nothing else, and I get to like that second rung in the bridge, and when I do the same thing with Meteor Goliath, I get to almost that third one, so a bit of extra distance there. Now here's where things get really interesting, because I did some damage tests against Armadons between original and Meteor. And here's original Goliath's rock throw. Keep in mind that every time I test, these are all stage 3 abilities. Here's Meteor Goliath's rock throw. Obviously there's less initial damage, but it looks like, just slightly, he does more damage over time with those flames, and this is going to be a repeat for each ability. Bam, original Goliath's Leap Smash straight on that thing's head does maybe a little bit over a quarter of the damage, or a quarter of the health of the Armadon. Does a little less than a quarter for Meteor Goliath, but those flames add up, and he gets almost a half HP. Same thing coming up here with Flame Breath, keeping that flame right on the Armadon. Let the flames tick, he gets scared and runs away. Final flame damage does about a quarter of his total HP. Now, same thing with Meteor Goliath. I'm gonna light that guy on fire, keep the flames on the whole time, and watch here as he runs away again. Flames tick, and this time, again, at about half HP left. Up next is Charge, once again, hitting on with original Goliath, does a decent chunk of his HP, maybe almost a fourth. And here we go with Meteor Goliath, a little less upfront damage, but those flames keep ticking, and it's definitely more than a quarter of his HP. So just a little more to say on this before I shut up and let you guys watch the skin spotlight portion. That seems to be obviously the theme of Meteor Goliath, is that he does less burst damage, but he does more total damage if his flames are allowed to burn for their full duration, and not out-healed. So he'll struggle a little bit with bursting hunters down, but if he can spread the flames, so to speak, then he'll have an easier time whittling down the whole group of hunters to eventually get them down at once. that's just theory anyway. We're still learning about how to play this guy since he's relatively new. Anyway, guys, that's that for the adaptation spotlight. I hope you enjoyed the comparisons and stuff. Let me know what you think. The rest of this video is just like my other skin spotlights, so you can kind of see what he looks like, full armor, no armor, glowing in the dark, all that kind of cool stuff. So, hope you guys have a great time playing Meteor Goliath. I'll see you next time.